Well, hello, my soul friends. It is Victoria, the Soul Nurturer, and I'm coming to you on this day of love, aka Valentine's Day, which I don't really celebrate because for me, being someone who loves love, every day is a day to celebrate love, and every day is an opportunity to explore how's your love story. And in this conversation or talk or lecture, it's not really a lecture, it's a talk. It's me talking from my heart to yours. Hopefully you're out there with me watching along, and please do let me know you're with me by commenting. I love it when people like the videos, but I don't know who's out there. So just comment, even if it's nothing more than an emoji or a I'm with you. But mostly, I'll say this straight at the top, I love to hear comments about what your takeaways are, or where I'm opening something up in you or resonating with you, and you feel resonance with what I'm saying, or maybe you have one of those soul illuminating moments that we call light bulb moments. And I love to call them light bulb moments. I stole that from Oprah years ago, but for me, a light bulb moment is illuminating a path you hadn't considered before. It lights the way ahead of you so you can do something different. And that's what this is all about. That's why I'm here with all of you. So the first thing I'm going to do is invite you to get your candle. Let's pause and light our candles. And again, I like to light my candle to symbolize that I'm not offering these talks alone. My intention is to show up and lean into my 20 plus years of technical professional experience. I've been doing this my whole life. This is who I am. The essence of who I am and what my soul is here to do is to support and nurture other soul potential and to help others along their path. So light your candle, pause the video and light your candle. So we invite in a sacred time together. Okay. So today, I thought, why talk about, I didn't want to talk about relationships on Valentine's Day. And I hope that, again, I didn't want to make it about Valentine's Day. It is about love. And I will say that on this day that some people really do struggle. You know, my heart goes out to those who are, you know, oh, I don't have a Valentine, or I don't have a partner, and I'm all alone. All that story we tell ourselves, when the real love story is the self-love story. So I actually got 2 requests last week, random, out of the blue. Hey, can you talk about self-love? I already have another video I did last February 2021. I did the whole month of February was talking about love, and you can't talk about relationship love without talking about self-love. And self-love is like, it's the foundation of which all real, authentic, beautiful love grows from. So let's talk about love. You know, let's do this. So I'm going to try to do like a short version at the beginning, and then at that point, I'm going to give you upfront the essence of this message. And if you need to step away, if it's too long for you, just step away. But if it intrigues you, keep listening. Okay. So first of all, I want to know, and you can comment, what does self-love mean to you? I mean, it's a very, you know, you hear people talk about it all the time, you know, and practicing loving myself more and love yourself first. And I personally say love yourself forward, because it is important to make any shift or change on the transformational journey during doing soul work, which can open up all kinds of difficult material to be with. And if you don't have a healthy dose of self-love available, you can sink pretty easily. So what does self-love mean to you? And to expand that, I want to know what in your mind or your experience is the difference between conditional love and unconditional love. Do you know the distinction there? Because you need to in order to activate your highest flow of self-love. Okay, unconditional love, conditional love. And really, the essence of this whole message, I got this in meditation this morning, and I thought, I said to my husband, You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do the shortest video ever. I'm going to say, hello, soul friends. It's Victoria. I have a message from my heart to yours, and here it is. It's about self-love. And here is the message. How you were loved is how you love yourself. And how you love others is how you desire to be loved. And then I'd have a mic and I'd drop it right here. And then just say, peace out, sit with that. And truly that's it. But I'm going to try to break that down for you. Okay. So how you were loved as a child, it's where we learn. Remember, that's when, we come in as this just open, programmable minds that we have, and we're absorbing from our family of origin, updating all of our files about how do we do this thing called life. Now, of course, what I believe anyway is that we are love itself when we come into this world. Pure essence of love and joy. When you have the gift of being with a newborn baby, that's what arises, right? You just feel this love for this baby. You feel the love of this little precious being. And then we begin to forget who we are. We begin to forget, because the primary thing here that we have to do first is to be safe, to be accepted into our family of origin, and to have our basic needs met, right? And so really early on, we learn that to get those basic needs met, we sort of have to do what the external people are asking us to do, or we have to hold back some of who we are. And then what happens is, because we're dependent for our basic needs, food, shelter, and, connection, that we begin to become aware of anything we're doing that stops us getting those basic needs met, even if it is flowing your authentic self. And mostly that's what it is. And when you stop to, we come from love. We come, however you connect to God, source, the universe, whatever you say, we come from love, and we are love. And then we begin to forget that. So I want to talk about this. Let's talk about love. I keep thinking of that Salt and Pepper song. Those of you my age or older would know, we're not going to talk about sex. We're going to talk about love, baby. So how you were loved is how you love yourself. Let's break that down. This is really where we can find our unconscious programming. And I often ask people all the time when I work with new clients, and we're working with, anything, love has to be a factor there. Level of self-love and self-worth. And the primal belief that we need to work on and address is, do you feel safe? Safe to reclaim your authentic self. Safe to be the essence of love again, right? Safe to fulfill your soul potential. So I often do an assessment somewhere in my work with people, maybe at the beginning, first session, second session, somewhere along the line, when I realize we have to get real about where the client is, just to bring some light of awareness. And I do an assessment. So let's do an assessment together right now. First, let's think about what do you think of is self-love, and really that thought, how were you loved as a child, and is it true that that's how you're loving yourself? I'll give you an example, and then we'll go to the assessment. I always say this: we do not blame our families of origin. We do not blame our mothers or fathers. They did the best they could with their own love story or lack of love story, right? But in my case, so I will say this: would you say that is love neglect? Is that part of love? No, it is not. Consciously, we know, no, it is not. But when you have received love, or have looked at the way people are caring for you, and we're trying to assimilate what does love look like from the external, it could be wired in there, or that's what like I said, and how you were loved is how you love yourself. I know this sounds kind of kooky, like how could it takes a moment to wrap your mind around it. So in my case, I know my mom loved me. I know she did the best she could. However, my mom was not really available for whatever. I'm not going to get into her history and her issues. But as a little girl, I often felt like, there wasn't really anybody around. And so that created a sense of neglect. Okay. Maybe there was some physical neglect and some emotional neglect. And so what happens with me, I will get busy and I'll be in my life and I think I'm loving myself and I'm taking good care of myself and offering self-love. And I have neglected myself. So that's that old story running. My love file is open, self-love file is open, and it included neglect. So I catch that and say, okay, this is not the essence of who I am. This is not pure love. This is not unconditional love. Okay. So let's do the assessment right now, and then I'll go back to talking about what's the difference between unconditional and conditional love. So on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being really good, I not only think that I practice self-love, I take action. And that's a really important point. You could think all day long, yeah, I really do love myself, right? And I get this a lot with my clients. And I say, oh, awesome. Ooh, you're at a 10, great. And then we'll get into the session and they'll start saying, well, so I was judging myself the other day and I was really critical of myself the other day. And I totally didn't show up when I said I wanted to show up for myself, and, or I'm in this really abusive relationship. And I'll go, okay, let's pause for a minute. Is that what a level 10 of self-love looks like? Really? And it's like they come to awareness and they say, oh gosh, no, I guess that isn't very loving, is it? Again, these unconscious patterns deep in our subconscious minds, they're running the show. And we need to bring that light of awareness or sacred awareness from our soul witnessing our human experience to catch ourselves and say, this isn't love. This isn't the kind of love that my soul came in with. This isn't the love that I need to nourish and nurture my potential. So the assessment is really important, and it's not to make you feel bad or anything. It's just to bring awareness simply. And then you can begin to say, great, okay, say I'm at a level 5, and this can vary day to day. Today I feel really buoyant today. The moon's in Leo, my moon sign. And I tend to feel really vibrant and alive and more like my essence. So I'm really high today, but there are days, honestly, my self-love goes down. And I can tell. How can I tell? I'm looking at my behaviors. I'm looking at how I'm taking care of myself. I'm listening to my inner dialogue. I'm listening to my story on the inner, and it's not a love story. So that's what we're working on today, is updating our self-love story, the most important love story there is. It precedes all relationships you'll have. And if you want, right on this day, lots of people are desiring and dreaming of their soulmate and being in a relationship. And hey, I love love. I am a big, I love to fix people up. I love to play matchmaker. I root for people in the relationships. I just believe in the power of love, how healing it is, and how it brings, ideally, love helps us rebirth ourselves over and over again and experience heaven on earth. Truly, I feel like if we can practice self-love, practice unconditional love for self and others, we can experience heaven on earth over and over again. Anyway, so now you've assessed yourself, self-love. What does it look like? Now we want to think about that, and where are you taking actions that are congruent with that? So now, what is unconditional love versus conditional love? Now, the thing is, again, no matter how loving and how present and how amazing our parents were or were not, all beginning conditioning is there at the beginning, no matter, and it has to be. We kind of have to we start to develop our ego, which I love that acronym for ego is, earth guide only. In our human experience, we do need some we need our ego to guide us through this experience. And okay, the first, if you're saying there, no, my parents loved me unconditionally, and I don't mean this to sound harsh, but it's reality. This is how subtle and yet potent conditioning is. The first way we condition our kids, or are conditioned as children, is when we are given a name. When we are given a name, even before we're born, our parents or our mothers, if you have a single mom, have an association to the name. Oh, this name means this child is going to be this or that, the other. That's conditioning. I often say to young women that I work with who are pregnant, wait to meet your baby. Let them tell you, show you who they are, what their essence is. Name them accordingly. Otherwise, anything short of that, you've already smacked them with a label. This is who you're going to be. This is what I imagine you're going to be. And the conditioning starts. So again, right there, as subtle as that is, the love that comes to that is you will need to be a certain way in order to receive my love. Okay? That's conditioning. And I'm saying happens throughout our childhoods. And then there's really, I hear lots and lots of stories of people who felt they were only loved if they got straight A's, or they were only loved if they kept their bedroom clean, or they were only loved if they did what, was expected, right? This is common, happens all the time. But then what does that teach us about ourselves and our own self-love? So unconditional love is, well, what do you think unconditional love is? Put it in the comments. I'd love to hear. But my take on unconditional love is connecting to that essence, to that source. And with acceptance, unconditional love is, it's instead of saying, if you do this, then I'll love you. It's just, I love you. I just love you, right? There's no attachment to it. There is no manipulating with it. There are no expectations with it. Okay. So this is kind of what unconditional love looks like. And again, we are in the human experience, there are conditions all over the place. And it's how we do this life. But sacred awareness brings us to that choice point of, oh gosh, I am trying to manipulate my people, my family, or my friends in order to get my needs met because I forgot, or trying to get love because I forgot that I bring the love. I forgot that, right? So that's really the essence of my message today. My quick little overview. I'm going to get into a little bit more with beliefs if you want to hang in there with me a little bit longer. And but thanks for being with me if you're going to check out now. And I may just post this short version on Instagram. So come back to YouTube, the Soul Nurture channel, to hear the rest and learn more about self-love. Okay. Those of you continuing with me, thank you. I appreciate you and I love you. So what else did I want to say? Okay. So, so how, and the other piece of that is how we love others is how we long to be loved. Okay. This is another window into your level of self-love. If, and this is where we can get into codependency. I want to say something about this is really important. The setup for how we do everything again is how we navigate our childhood, or, how the people that were present to us or not present in some cases reflected back to us who we are, how we saw the external world seeing us, created the story of us, created beliefs, our beliefs. So one thing I like to say is, all children, all new beings, no matter how old we are, but crucial in the early stages from, birth, or even before you're born when you're in utero, to about 7, we are 100%, sponges, 100% open and receptive and being programmed by our family of origin, right? And all children and adults, but mostly this imprint happening 0 to 7, need healthy, positive, loving mirrors to reflect back the essence of their being. Now, we never not need this, right? But again, it is crucial from those early years. Now, if this is really important, if you did not have that, again, giving grace to parents and caregivers, no blame, no shame here. But if you did not have a loving, safe, positive, reflective, honoring mirror, mirroring back the essence of you, mirroring back unconditional love, mirroring back safety and acceptance, then most likely, and this is the work, this is the inner work, this is our soul work, the reclaiming of soul potential, your inner mirror is cracked. So if your inner mirror is cracked, you cannot see yourself clearly. You cannot love yourself effectively because you're always working against or through that distorted image of yourself. So don't feel bad out there. You're not alone. I have a cracked mirror too. I think most of us do. And that doesn't mean that it's never repaired or restored. You repair and restore it, but it's a continual process because, and just like our deep wounded places in our inner experience, they don't go away. And so if you have a cracked mirror, we patch it up. We can work on shifting our perception to see ourselves more clearly, but there's still a crack. So this is where we have to do a lot more work of how can I reconnect to the essence of who I am? This is soul work. Seeing where your conditioned self is still very, very active, where you're still operating out of the belief that I don't matter unless, I get this or that from the other person. I don't matter unless someone else loves me. And I'm not valued. I'm not valued if I don't have a relationship. This is all conditioned program stuff in our, collective conditioned experience, right? So what is the antidote? Well, for me, it's reclaiming that innocent one. My desk is over there, and on my desk is a picture of myself as a baby. I think about 3 months old. I'd go grab the picture, but I don't want to interrupt this here. And there I am, just beaming love and joy. And so reclaiming soul essence is reclaiming that younger self, that young you who, I love that saying, it's never too late to receive what you've always needed, who's still longing for what you have to offer now. So the love, that second part of my message this morning, is how you love others is how you long to be loved. And truly, it's the inner child that's longing to be loved that way. I didn't mean to go off on this tangent. Wasn't in my notes. It's coming fresh right now. So inner child work is, for me, inner child work is how we reclaim that soul essence. And our inner child holds our potential. And the door gets opened with love to that potential. Okay? So I just want to take a breath there and think about that. So one thing you can do, especially those of you who are feeling longing, you're longing for connection or someone to love, get a picture of yourself out as a baby or younger self and put it in a prominent place and look at that picture. And when you start to feel like I'm all alone, 2 things, you say, no, I'm with myself and I'm with this inner child, and cultivate your connection to the divine. whatever that looks like for you. And I want to say, I try to include everybody here. I don't, I share a little bit about my faith, but mostly keep it like pretty open, because I honor there are many paths to God, just as there are many languages that we speak. So I don't think there's one language that God listens to in terms of how we communicate with God. So that's just me. But I try to be really, an open space here. Your path with God is your personal path, right? Okay. So I want to say a couple more things. And speaking of languages, I did want to touch on Dr. Gary Chapman's 5 love languages. Many people know about that. So I wanted to look at it from a different angle, though, because, the work was beautiful and talked about how we give and receive love in 5 different styles. And I'm sure there are many, many more, and you could probably identify your own. But what he came up with, words of affirmation, acts of service, receiving gifts, quality time, and physical touch. So this is where you can catch your own level of self-love again. How much of that are you giving to others? And how often do you feel like you're not getting it back? So it's the place where we feel like we're not getting it back. Take a sip of water. Self-love care right here. So if you're doing all these, ways of loving your partner or your kids or your friends, and you're not getting it back, for me, this tells you a couple things. That you're still wired into what you learned as a child, that you're dependent on those outside of your inner experience to give you what you need. Yes, that's true with our basic needs. I need food. Give me food. I can't feed myself. But healing, and this is really important to you. Healing and reclaiming the potential of unlimited, unconditional love flowing through us as us requires us to do some rewiring, to unhook from the need to get this need of love met by others and wire it back in through ourselves and into the divine, into source itself. Unlimited flow, available all the time, okay? So this is the big healing, and it's really, really challenging, but this is the transformational piece that's so important. Anything short of that, and I say this a lot, it's addiction. So what happens is, yes, we're dependent when we're children on people in our outer worlds giving us what we need. And then when we get older and we hopefully have received enough to generate what we need and know how to take care of ourselves, know how to feed ourselves, know how to do our basic needs, right? We're so conditioned to be dependent that we start becoming dependent on things that we can easily get for ourselves, like activating love. Don't have to wait for somebody to feel loved. You don't have to wait to flow with love. You can generate it with yourself, and you can generate it by going into meditation or going out in nature, the ultimate reset and reclaimer of our authentic selves, right? But these acts of service, I was thinking about it. If you're giving it to somebody else and you're expecting, I'm waiting for that to happen for me. Well, where are you offering that to yourself? So are you affirming yourself? Are you getting a little special, little gift for yourself here and there? What are the other ones? Acts of service. How would we do that for self-love? Well, say you want to go work out and you tell yourself, I'm going to go out for a walk today, or you've been telling yourself you're going to start eating differently, and you're not doing that. You're not serving yourself, and therefore you're not loving yourself, right? So there's a really important concept here too, is how we treat ourselves is how we teach other people to treat us. And so that also is another setback when we're desiring love, but we're not loving ourselves. So why are we expecting someone else to do the thing we're not doing for ourselves, right? So another question for you then, I already sort of opened this question, but I want to add another word. So what does self-love ideally look like for you? Now, again, you may think you're practicing self-love, but what does it look like? How do you know you're at a level 10 with self-love? So here's something you can do. And that is first track where you're not loving yourself. Like I talked about earlier, if I'm finding that I'm kind of neglecting myself, that's not love, right? Or those of you, and I can do this as well, can fall into some very critical inner dialogue going on, or hard on myself, very hard on myself. I admit that. That is a love language I learned a long time ago. And really, obviously that's not love, right? But we could fall back into these default patterns because they're so familiar. We have so many references that have kind of melded love. We unconsciously project. Let's see how this is going to come. We unconsciously project onto our caregivers, whether they're loving or not, that this is love, and this is how we receive love. And that, my friends, is the work in reclaiming your self-love right there. What did you learn about love or about you being lovable from your caregivers? And that's what you need to change in order to love yourself fully. Okay. So identifying what is not love is the first step. It's a crucial step. I mean, if you could go right to ideal self-love is, just greeting myself with grace and acceptance every morning, and valuing who I am and taking actions on behalf of myself every day. Awesome. Good. Most people need to do this back step in order to take this forward step. So what are you doing that is not love behaviorally and with your thoughts and with your inner story? Okay. Where is your inner love story kind of a horror story? You're not being very nice to yourself. We want to change your self-love story to a authentically loving story. Okay. So once you've taken an honest inventory of your self-love story, you can begin to write that new story. Okay. This is the really, really important part. Again, what's the opposite of what you've been doing? That wasn't loving towards more loving behaviors. For example, as I shared, if I'm neglecting myself, what's the opposite of that? I'm really present to myself. I show up for myself. I honor my agreements with myself. I do the extra things that I could say, well, we can fall into this trap too. Well, I'm kind of being selfish here. I don't really need to, and maybe I need to focus more on others. And boy, that is an old wiring that we all trip over, a tripwire. That old conditioning of I'm being selfish if I'm taking care of myself. But I always say, well, who else is going to take care of you? See, this is where we get stuck because we're going to be selfish unless we're taking care of ourselves. But this is like the childlike thinking, right? When we're waiting for someone to take care of us. That's not what happens in adulthood. It's not what happens when you're reclaiming your authentic being. This is your opportunity. This is your responsibility. Okay. So, what else did I have? I just made some notes here, and I've been supporting people for over 20 plus years in multiple ways of reclaiming soul potential and whatnot. Whatever issue they came with, it was always important to check in with the self-love and how safe they felt to make these changes, because I learned along the way that my clients weren't going to shift or keep the shifting of patterns sustainable unless they had a high level of self-love to keep it going. Okay. So, and the other essential beliefs that I found, and this is key, when you want to up-level your self-love, you have to question your beliefs. What do I believe about myself? And ask too, is this helping me? achieve more self-love or not? Is it even loving to think this thought? And then to change that. But the real two beliefs that I've identified over the years across the board over and over again with my clients and myself that are foundational beliefs are that you are safe to make these changes in your life. It is safe for you to reclaim the essence of your being and that you are lovable, that you are loved, you're safe, okay? And you are worthy. You are worthy of your own love. You are worthy of love. Worthiness is key, okay? So unconditional love, that practice with self is really important. Again, that means accepting yourself right where you are, just as you are, and practicing some loving actions with yourself. I often say, I always teach my clients this, like when we're shifting behaviors, to think about when you were a kid learning to walk for the first time, or when your own kids were learning to walk, did they just get up and just start walking? Did we? No. What happened? We fell down. And not just once, but over and over and over again. Now, all of us who are walking had some loving presence at least, or some encouragement to say, get up. You can do this. You've got this. So I can say this, even if you think you didn't receive love from your family of origin, if you're able to take care of yourself, you're able to walk and to do the basic needs of your life, you were loved. You were loved in the best way your family of origin knew how to love you. Now you can take it forward even more strongly. But the point of this is, if you are aspiring to love yourself more and you kind of get clear on what beliefs do I need to hold and what patterns will I do, what actions will I take, and you fall back, you fall and you stumble, you, like we would do for a toddler learning to walk again, say, it's okay. You can do this. You got this. Just get back up, right? We do that for babies learning to walk because we believe in their potential. We believe they can do it. We must believe that we too can love ourselves in a more deeply, more profound way to love ourselves forward, okay? So, and one other thing, a couple other things, this is the longer version. So, one way to find out your level of self-love, again, is to track your actions. So this is where journaling could be really helpful. Simply track your patterns. Just, honestly too, do it honestly. Like, this is why tracking your food, what you've actually eaten, not what you think you should have eaten. You track it, not to judge, but to say, wow, bringing to consciousness what we need to change. And noticing, I said I was going to exercise this week and you journal. Honestly, I did not. Okay. All that's showing you is you need to up-level your self-love. And increased self-love increases our self-care. It's that easy and that hard because we have to repractice it over and over and over again. Okay. So, and here's something too. What's the most loving thing you could do for someone else? You can love yourself, because then love is flowing freely. It's not forced. You don't need it from anyone else. You're not trying to manipulate someone else to get it. You're just naturally flowing from your soul, from your heart, with source. And this is ever present, ever available. Okay. I think I'm going to just end here with this because I love this quote and it's really fitting for where I'm at. And that is, and in fact, I'll invite you just to close your eyes for a moment with me, and I'm going to read this Rumi quote, okay? So just go ahead and close your eyes and breathe into your body and think about all that I've just shared. As you breathe into your body, you have ultimate permission in here. And this inner world, only you are in charge. Well, God too, but you are directing your thoughts. You're writing the story. And I'm inviting you to write a love story that is so profound today. As you breathe into your body and you tell your subconscious mind and your body, I'm ready to up level. I'm ready to write a new love story. I am safe to do that. And I'm worthy of this new love story. I am worthy, worthy of my own love, worthy of the life I desire, worthy of reclaiming my soul potential. And I know that the door opens to all that I desire when I open the door of my heart to flow more love to my being, my body, my world, my life, my desires. So breathe into that. And now the Rumi quote. I've already invited you to close your eyes, but his quote is, close your eyes, fall in love, stay there, stay there. So that's it. Open your eyes now and come on back. That's the invitation. As simple. If I had just started with what came to me in my meditation and ended with this one quote, that would be sufficient to guide you towards more self-love, to open the door to your own heart and receive your own love and live from there. Okay, I hope this was helpful. I'd love to hear your takeaways, what resonated, what clicked, and do you have any questions? Let me know. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Like, those are great. I love the likes. Comments are everything. So do comment and share with others if you feel called. And you can email me at, where am I sending emails now? thesoulnurturer@gmail.com if you have any questions or requests for future videos. And I'm still open maybe for a couple more spots with clients for one-on-one soul guidance with the many different modalities. And now I've done training for like 20 plus years. So much training and so many different modalities to support you on your journey of unfolding your soul potential. And I do offer astrology soul chart reviews where we look at your soul potential and find ways to bring more of you into the world, because who you are and what you came into the world to offer is needed. All right. Thanks for spending some of your precious time with me today. Take good care of yourself. Love yourself forward, and I'll see you next time.